New York Rangers beat the Carolina Hurricanes by a score of 6-2, and the star of the night, Artemi Panarin, scores 4 goals, and he also had an assist. So the Rangers have now won, dating back to the playoffs last year, versus Carolina. They won 4 straight, and they have won 6 of their last 7, which is pretty remarkable. And Carolina is one of the best teams in the league. But I think what we're seeing is that Carolina, and I wish the Rangers would adopt the Carolina sort of mentality in the way that they play. Carolina is a hustle team, hard-nosed team to play against, really tough to defend. There's a speed element. There is a shoot-first mentality. Rod Brind'Amour, he is a really good coach. But the thing that hurts Carolina right now is that there's just a lack of high-end talent. And it's not horrific by any means. There's very good players on this team, but that's kind of how the Rangers can win. And if the Rangers can match the intensity, that's where the Rangers have a bit of a leg up. If they can match it, they can beat Carolina, and we've kind of seen that. And the Rangers have had some really high-quality chances, so that's where the shot count is a bit misleading. Although, in this game, Carolina really at times was very dominant, especially in the second period, and it stretches early in the first too. But the Rangers played a great third period. Rangers were great in the third, and they're doing that again. Like last season, they were a great third period team, and this is after a really bad start to the season, specifically in the third. They were not good in the third period, the first couple of months. At best, they were average, and I'm pretty sure it was worse. They've really built up, and now again are excellent in the third, and I think full marks to the Rangers for a great third period. Really, that was impressive what they did there. And here's the thing. It goes exactly against what I thought it would be, where I thought as the game moved on, Carolina would be better. Remember, Carolina has not played in a while. Carolina hadn't played in about 10 days or so. On the flip side, the Rangers have played a lot lately. This was the third game in 4 nights. And on the second of a back-to-back where they had to travel. And the way they won was somewhat unexpected for many reasons. Halak, 7 straight wins for Halak. He has been magnificent and really was very good in this one. I thought, the first goal, goal 2 was definitely not his fault. Goal 2, he did everything he could to save, that one from going in. But the first one, I guess that's one he probably would want to have back. It was a fluky sort of goal, but he really has been very good. And I think we're going to see Halak play a good amount in the last few months of the season, which is going to be good for Shesterkin. And speaking of sort of that balance, that's kind of what we saw tonight in terms of the line distributions, forwards and defense. And that's good. It took, the Foxes of the world and the Zibanejads, the Panarins, they did not play a crazy amount. The fourth line got a lot of time, and there was a lineup change tonight. Vitaly Kravtsov taken out, and, I think his days as a Ranger are not much longer. I don't think he'll be here past the trade deadline. It just doesn't feel that way. And so he was out the scratch, and they put Jake Leschyshyn back in. That's the one weak link for sure, is Jake Leschyshyn should not be in this lineup. He makes that fourth line bad. I would leave Gauthier in that fourth line. I like him. And look, if you had to healthy scratch him every now and then, I'm fine with that. But I think Gauthier should be a key part of that fourth line. Brings a really nice amount of size and speed. So the fourth line, that wasn't great. But still, the balance is really important. And what was really the most unexpected part more than anything, and keeping in mind that with that lineup change, Kravtsov out, Vesey moved up. And what ends up happening is late in the second, Gallant switches Panarin and Kreider. So now it's Kreider with Zibanejad and Tarasenko, and Panarin back with Trocheck, and now also Vesey. And that's when Panarin exploded. It was unexpected. Look, I was done with Panarin and Trocheck. I really was. So in the moment, I'm thinking, really? That's what I was pretty surprised by that. And Panarin to that point was not playing well, and it got him going. And, he wasn't with Tarasenko, but I think Tarasenko being on the team, I think just gives him a bit of a jolt. I really think it, but like I said last night, I think it does something for him. And, Panarin, like, do you wish that he was a little bit more consistent in terms of sort of the output? Yes. But wow, like that line was really, really good when they were put together, and I'm sure they'll keep it. Panarin, Trocheck, who returned to Carolina for the first time, and again, this is the first game at Carolina for the Rangers since they won at Game 7 last season. And for Trocheck, they gave him a nice tribute video, and I thought he was really good. Vinny Trocheck, who I was, really critical of, has been very good lately. He has turned it around after a rough stretch. But I think Trocheck was great, and Jimmy Vesey has been, I can't say enough for what he has done. Vesey has been excellent in his second stint with the New York Rangers. I just, you would have never thought that would happen. But, 52 games, 9 goals, 11 assists, 20 points, and a plus 11. That's good stuff. And, he's someone that you want out there. You don't really mind, if he's going to bounce between the fourth line and being elevated, he kills penalties. It really is amazing the player that was, the player that is now. This was not someone that was defensively reliable as a younger player on the Rangers. Maybe there was a little bit more, he was putting up some decent offensive stats. That isn't really there as much, but I'll take this Jimmy Vesey way more than the one that we saw back then. This is a much more complete player. So he deserves credit too. But that Panarin, Trocheck, Vesey line, that was the line that got them going. Kid line, I thought again, the kid line was good again. Did have some tough stretches in the middle of the game, but once they found their game again, they were really good. I mean, all three of them have been very good lately. Lafreniere, Hedl, and Kakko. And you're seeing it on the score sheet as well. That's the good thing too, is that now it's looking better as far as that's concerned. I mean, Hedl's was already looking good, but now for Kakko and for Lafreniere, that's also, been evident too. So I think what we're seeing now is a team that, like I said, has a lot more balance. And that's going to be key come playoff time, because here's the facts. The Jordan Staal line, they, as you'd expect, did a pretty good job against Zibanejad. Okay, but now what are you going to do when you have to face the kid line and, now the Panarin line? How are you going to combat that? And they really weren't able to do, they weren't really able to do so successfully. Again, give Halak credit. He outplayed Freddie Anderson. But, the Brady Shea, Brett Pesce pair really, they had a rough night. They really had a rough night. And they just couldn't match up with the Trocheck line when it was all said and done. So for the Rangers, the start of the game was not great. Carolina had a lot of shots, none that were really of crazy high quality, whereas the Rangers would only have a little bit, and the few they would get was a lot. And I guess that was kind of a theme for the game, but I thought the Rangers in the first period were okay. Second period, they really weren't good at all. And I felt like it was a win for the Rangers to be tied going to the third. To me, you had to feel good about that. And then the third period was excellent. But in the first, like I said, Rangers kind of, not so sharp to start. And the Rangers get their one power play of the night. They'd only get one. Jalen Chatfield interfered with Ryan Lindgren at 12:49, and the Rangers score the first power play unit, which had Hedl on it, and it's another power play goal for Mika Zibanejad. So kind of like Kreider, I mean, not to this rate, but Kreider last year was kind of the power play goal guy. Now it's Zibanejad. 27th goal of the season for Mika, 16th on the power play from Kreider and Panarin, and another really nice setup by Kreider. So that's been a good situation where he's actually getting assists and setting up Zibanejad on the back end. The back door, I should say. And Zibanejad's, really finding himself some relatively easy goals. Now, this one involved him having to kind of, roof it, and he did a good job of doing that. But it's Zibanejad from Kreider and Panarin. Rangers take a 1-0 lead at 13:37 of the first. And then late in the first, Zibanejad trips Jacob Slavin at 19:19, but the Rangers penalty kill does a really nice job and kills it off. But in the second period, as things go on, Carolina starts finding their game. and it's Teuvo Teravainen scores his 6th goal of the season unassisted. And it was the kid line was on for the Rangers, and they basically, were struggling to kind of secure the puck. I think the Miller-Trouba pair was on as well, and Teravainen, the puck kind of had eyes and found its way past Halak. It might have deflected off of Keandre Miller in front. Either way, Carolina ties it up at 1, and then at 9:43, Kotkaniemi scores his 8th of the season from Dahan and Svechnikov, and this one was the 4th line was on for this goal, and unfortunately, Goodrow was not. A great save by Halak, I guess on Dahan. It was either on Dahan or Kotkaniemi, but it ends up on the stick of Kotkaniemi, and he's able to then, get the rebound after Goodrow couldn't get it out of the way, and Carolina takes a 2-1 lead. And Carolina really had chances to even extend it. They didn't. And then Gallant had enough and made that line change, and it worked. It really did. And it's a 2-on-1 chance, and Panarin decides to shoot the puck and scores. And that's where, Panarin's got a good shot. He just refuses to use it. And so Panarin, it's his 13th goal of the season from Trocheck and Vesey. And the Rangers tied up at 2, and it's 2-2 going to the third. And like I said, you felt good about that. It's like you didn't feel like they deserved it, but there they were tied. And in the third period, they do a really nice job. And at 4:33, Panarin scores his 2nd of the night, his 14th of the season, from Braden Schneider and Vinny Trocheck. So Schneider doesn't have to have... And, we've seen this before where Schneider and Panarin... there seems like I feel like a lot of Schneider's points, and it makes sense. It's not like it's a crazy, it's not crazy. It's Panarin. Panarin obviously is a point getter, but it seems like those two kind of have some decent chemistry ever since Schneider came up. And so Panarin, really nice goal, by the way, where kind of at a weird angle, and he's able to kind of just, hook it in forehand from somewhat far out. It was not the type of goal that you normally see. And the Rangers take a 3-2 lead. But Panarin takes a penalty at 11:43. It's a hooking penalty in Artemi. But the Ranger penalty kill does a really, really good job. And they kill it off. And then, look, you're not feeling great about the idea of closing this out, but the Rangers score the key goal at 15:59. Keandre Miller makes a nice defensive play and sets up Panarin for the hat-trick goal. It's a breakaway. And we know how Panarin is in the shootout. He scores. It's a hat trick, a natural hat trick for Panarin, his 15th goal of the season from Keandre Miller, and the Rangers take a 4-2 lead. The Carolina Hurricanes would pull the goalie, and in that instance, Kakko scores his 11th goal of the season from Lafreniere and Trouba at 17:46 to make it 5-2, but Panarin was not done. At 18:56, Panarin scores his 4th goal of the night, his 16th goal of the season, so 25% of Panarin's goals came tonight. The assist to Vesey. And the Rangers take a 6-2 lead. They win by that score. An impressive night for Artemi Panarin. 4 goals against Carolina. And like I said, it's really Panarin and Halak are the big stars of the night, especially Panarin, of course. And again, Trocheck, and then to a lesser degree, Vesey. The 3 of them were very, very good. And so now the Rangers are 31, 14, and 8. They find themselves 3 points behind the Devils and 6 points behind Carolina. Look, and that's the thing. The Rangers have been so good lately, but so has Carolina and New Jersey. That is a clearly defined top 3 right now. Obviously we know what Pittsburgh and Washington are capable of, but that looks like your top 3. But I'm going to leave on this, where for a while it seemed like, okay, yeah, you definitely want to play the Devils, not Carolina. Hold on. Not so fast. I think it's something worth considering that, look, maybe Carolina is the better matchup. And look, we saw what happened last year, where Carolina had the Rangers number in the regular season, only for it to turn in the playoffs. So I'm not getting ahead of myself, and I respect Carolina a lot. But I think we almost respect them maybe a little bit too much at this point. So in New Jersey, they can kind of match the Rangers. Like they provide a different element. They have talent, a lot of speed. So it's just a different element. The Rangers kind of would have to use some of the Carolina elements against New Jersey and kind of blend the skill and the grittiness. But it's just something to think about. Whereas I was dead set on, okay, like I definitely want to play New Jersey over Carolina. And I'm still going to stick with that for now. But I think it's something that Ranger fans need to think about. And I'm curious what everyone thinks. What is the better matchup? Maybe, look, New Jersey is a young team. They're not the biggest team. They're not the most physical team. That may not translate to playoff hockey. And so maybe that is the way. But we've also seen the Rangers have some definite recent success versus Carolina. But I think also a big factor here is what happens by the trade deadline. We hear about Timo Meier, right? And we've really heard Timo Meier mostly associated with the Devils or Carolina. They acquire a player like that kind of changes the whole landscape. So I think that's a big factor here too. I would expect both teams to be active, but we'll see what happens. But again, the Rangers, they head to Western Canada now to take on Vancouver, who they just beat recently. Edmonton, who they had a really tough loss against when they were struggling, one that they wanted to have back. That was a tough one. And then Calgary, who it was a spirited, one of the best games of the season, and they played them earlier this week as well. So, but they don't play till Wednesday. They can feel good about this one. Rangers defeat Carolina 6-2, 4 goals and 1 assist, but 4 goals for Artemi Panarin.